Hey, it's good to see you for this week's 2 Minutes of Truth. I'm Aaron with Mark 2 Ministries. We've talked over the last couple of weeks about what it looks like to love God. And over the next few weeks, we're going to look at what Scripture says about loving each other. I'm going to paraphrase this week's Scripture as we're looking at the parable of the Good Samaritan in Luke 10. Now, in this parable, Jesus is explaining to the religious leaders at the time who our neighbor is in reference to the loving our neighbor as yourself portion of the greatest commandment. As I'm sure most of you are familiar with this parable, I'm going to kind of skip over and be really brief with it. But basically, the guy's walking down the street and he gets his behind handed to him by a couple of robbers, and he's laid in the road half dead. A priest walks by, goes on the other side of the road, completely ignores him, as does a Levite. Now, these guys are the religious elite of the time, and they're fellow Jews. So you would think that they would stop and help, but they did nothing. They walked by. And then along came the Samaritan. Now keep in mind, at this point in history, Jews and Samaritans hated each other. But not only did the Samaritan stop to help, but he picked the man up and put him on his donkey, and to use today's language, he took him to the hospital. And not only that, he paid the medical bills, which is unbelievably huge. Now, in Jesus, in verse 37, tells us to go and do likewise. That is such a huge statement. So what does it look like the next time you see a guy holding a cardboard sign next to the road asking for money? Do you roll up your window and pretend to change the radio station? Nah. Be a neighbor to the guy. At the very least, give him some money. Better yet, do you feel comfortable with taking the guy to a restaurant and buying him a meal, getting to know him, having a conversation? It's okay if you're not comfortable with that. Serve at a soup kitchen. Talk to him there. Get to know him. Do more than just give them food or give them money. You could take clothes that are still in good condition to a homeless shelter. Sing songs to kids at your local children's hospital. Give a family affected by disability a few hours of respite. You can contact your local outreach pastor and find ways to get plugged in and serve in your community. And here's my shameless plug. Call us at Mark 2 Ministries. We'd be happy to show you about ways to serve with people with disabilities. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do something. Be intentional. The ways to love your neighbor are truly endless if your eyes are open to it. And I pray that this 2 minutes opens your eyes. Thanks as always for joining us. We really appreciate it. I love you. Have a great